And there are people still today in different parts of the world who worship various aspects of nature. If these people, when they worship trees, sticks, rivers, stars, if these people, when they worship nature, did not have any of their prayers answered, they would not continue to worship. For sure. They wouldn't continue to worship. They would go to find something else. So for sure, these people, when they worship nature, some of their prayers are answered. However, when we look at these unfortunate souls worshiping nature, we'll say, but it's not the tree that is answering your prayer. It is God. It's not the tree who is answering your prayer. It is God. If we look in India, where the majority of people are Hindus, and they worship God in the form of idols, which take a variety of different shapes and images. If you ask the common people, why are they worshipping the idols? They will hold that the idols answer their prayers. If you ask the intellectuals among them, or those who hold priestly positions, they will explain that they're not actually worshipping the physical idols that we see. They're worshipping Brahma, the world soul, the one God, who is present within these idols. However, in fact, what we see is that they are bowing down to these idols. And if we take another step, and we look into Christianity, and we ask Christians, why are you worshipping Jesus, a man? They will say, we're not worshipping Jesus, a man. We are worshipping God, who was within Jesus, the man. Or, because there are a number of different explanations of this, they will say, we worship God who became a man. But in fact, what we see is that they are worshipping a man. When you come to Islam, what you find is that God is not represented within His creation in any way, shape, or form. God is worshipped without any kind of image. Because once you put an image to God, an image will be made up of what we have perceived, what we have seen. It will mean that then God becomes an aspect of His creation. So it is only in Islam that we find worship directed only to God alone, without any intermediary. He is the only one who can answer the prayers. He is the only one who does answer prayers. Therefore, He is the only one to whom prayers should be directed. The third verse of this short chapter, لم يلد ولم يولد. He does not give birth, nor was He born. God here says that God does not give birth. In Old English, it would be said He does not beget, nor is he begotten. He doesn't give birth. Because the process of giving birth is an animal process. Animals give birth. Men who belong to the animal world, we give birth. It is an animal process. God is not an animal. God is the creator of animals. So he does not give birth. And God began this verse with this concept, not giving birth, because this is an area in which most of the people who have gone astray in the worship of God have become deluded. In the mythology of the nations around the world, you will find the belief that somehow God gave birth, had sons. Sometimes these sons are half God, half men, because God, gave birth through human beings. And this is the area, as I said, wherein a lot of people have become deluded into worshiping God's creation, believing that somehow some aspects of His creation have become a part of Him. They are a product of Him in the animal sense of giving birth. The second part of that verse, وَلَمْ يُولَدْ, and he is not born, or was not born, also deals with the concept of God being born. Once you say God is a son, God's the son, you're talking about a God who was born. Again, God here negates this concept. God was not born, because if God was born, that implies there's a time when God did not exist. And of course, this is inconceivable. God always was and always will be. This is one of His unique characteristics. There is no time when He wasn't. So, He is not born. And this small chapter of 4 verses closes off, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ, and there is nothing like unto Him. There is nothing similar to Him. In this last verse, God reaffirms what has been said in the previous 3 verses, what is said in the very first verse. This is telling us that any time we describe God in ways which include the characteristics of His creation, such descriptions are in and of themselves incorrect. If we speak about God creating the world in 6 days and then resting on the 7th, we have made Him like His creation, in need of rest. If we speak of God regretting doing certain things, again, we are making Him like His creation. Furthermore, if we describe any aspect of His creation as having no beginning and no end, then this concept is false, unacceptable, as it has been expressed, because God is the only being who has no beginning and no end. As such, when we look at the principle known as Einstein's theory of relativity, expressed in the formula E equals mc squared, or energy equals mass times the square of the speed of light, which in common terms is expressed as energy or matter can neither be created nor destroyed. That is, energy changes into matter, and matter changes back into energy.